All right, welcome everyone. Thanks for being here tonight. Quick question. Type yes in the chat if you've ever heard a contractor horror story, and then type me if you've ever lived one. Because tonight's workshop is about how to build co-living safely without blowing timelines, overpaying contractors, or losing control once construction starts. So this is not theory. We're actively building purpose-built co-living homes, and tonight we're breaking down how we choose builders, how we structure draw schedules, and how we protect capital at every phase of the construction. So this is a workshop first. If you are here to learn how to run construction the right way, you're in the right place. If you're here because you want your money attached to a real asset with a real team, you're also in the right place. The project I'm about to show, it does live on fractional. Kyle is here with us now. They handle the LLC, voting, compliance, and distributions. And so you don't need to decide anything right now, but I'll show you briefly so you know this is real and structured. And then we'll dive into the presentation with Jim and LD tonight. And so after this, we'll start with the part that makes or breaks every construction deal, how we hire contractors and how we pay them without losing leverage. So I'm pulling up fractional. It's where we do majority of our capital raises, especially the bigger ones with more people. And so on here, whether you're watching this live or recorded, this is the project that we're going to be referencing at the beginning, throughout the presentation, and then again at the end. We just opened this up last week on Thursday, actually, and it's already at $210,000 of the 550. Anyone that's been watching us for a bit, you know that our projects, they always overfill. So here are the four that we've done on fractional. Like I said, we've done a few off this year as well, just larger investors with us. 144% overfunded, 103%, 104, 108. And so I'm guessing, based on the momentum that this has currently, there's a solid chance this is filled by Christmas, easily by the end of the year. And so if you're on the fence, definitely, Rocky, if you could share the link in the chat on how to set up a one-on-one with us, definitely jump on that. Ask any questions in the chat. And so, yeah, we're going to start this presentation. We're real lucky to have Jim on here with us in addition to LD. Like I mentioned, they have 50 years combined. And then also Audrey, she's one of the top reps at PadSplit. And so we did put a lot of effort into this. Again, it's some of the biggest problems and issues that people have when they are trying to enter the coding space. It's who do they hire? Like how do you make sure you don't just throw 100 grand out the window when you're trying to tackle one of these projects? And so here we go. All right. Construction mastery. So guided walkthrough how we build co-living projects. We have done the fix and flip model. We're primarily focused on the new construction. And so we're real excited to show examples and dive into both sides. And Audrey, if you could take it away, why real estate investing feels unclear for new investors.
Sure. Do you want to present? You're not presenting right now.
Let's see. Do you guys see it on your side, Jim?
Yeah, I think it's more of the
Do you want to click
presenting mode.
slideshow?
Yeah,
There we go.
nice.
Perfect. Okay, guys, I've worked with a lot of investors in my career. Before I did mortgages, did some new construction loans. Huge headache every time, never an easy process. Since working with PadSplit, I think I've onboarded close to 500 properties. I would say 90% of them are doing some level of construction. Most deals sound good on paper, right? And then, the numbers work, the pitch makes sense. But once money is sent, things can start to feel pretty vague, right? Not all vendors are created equal. Investors, they often tell me that, money goes out progress feels invisible. They're not quite sure how to check in on the progress, because you only have maybe a high level understanding of construction. And you don't always know what's happening week to week. The timelines often stretch, but without a clear explanation as to why, you're just kind of taking their word for it. I'm sure these scenarios sound familiar to a lot of you. And that's where the trust ultimately it starts to erode. The worst part is surprises show up late when they're expensive and they're hard to fix. So most losses don't come from bad deals, right? They happen when investors don't understand what's actually happening behind the scenes. And if you've ever felt that uncertainty, you're definitely not alone. This is exactly why we've built this walkthrough here. So, next slide.
Here, what I'll do. There you go.
Thanks. All right, so this is where construction enters the picture and why it matters more than people actually realize. Construction is the bridge between the spreadsheet and the real asset. And this is where plans stop being theoretical. Every assumption you made during underwriting, it gets tested here. Timelines, the budget, layouts, rent projections, and this is where the risk actually it lives. Not because construction is bad, but because decisions made too late are expensive, like I mentioned before. And if you don't understand this phase, you're reacting instead of managing, right? So good construction doesn't create returns by itself. Bad construction can absolutely destroy them. So the goal isn't to become a contractor. The goal is clarity, and that's what we're trying to help you with tonight. Hopefully, you'll all walk away with some nuggets that can help you in your next project. And knowing what should be decided early, what should be tracked, and how capital is protected during this phase. Next slide. And I think this is Jim.
On me. I'll grab the baton.
So,
Thanks.
Jim, if you want to I'm
Yes.
gonna end screen share. You have co-host ability if you want to screen share on your
Yeah,
side.
let's
I know
do
you
that.
have
Give
a
it
good amount of slides coming up.
Let's give it a share. Let's see. How's that looking?
Looks
Perfect.
good.
Yeah. All right. Now I got to make sure I navigate this properly. Let's take a look here. Okay. If I go to the wrong one, let me know, but I think I got it down. Thanks everybody for being here. I'm pumped. Thank you for the intro, Dustin, Audrey. That's amazing. As Dustin mentioned, LD and I, we have quite a few years of experience. So really happy to be able to share that with you guys. And I know that your time is valuable. So really appreciate taking this night to invest into something that could be a really amazing project for you. It's going to be for everybody who gets involved. And my focus is all construction, from heavy value add projects, ground up builds. I call it is from dirt up. We work on it. And after enough of these projects, you start to see patterns, especially in co-living. So tonight we're going to pull back that curtain and we're going to show you the purpose-built ground up co-living project, how it actually comes together, and give you some insight of what was done and what's to come. So let's talk some construction. So this is the first slide that I'm going to go over. And at a high level, our approach is really simple with construction, but it's very intentional. So first we decide how much is possible before construction starts. Then we document that in order. So nothing lives in someone's head. It's all there and right there documented clearly. And the third thing is projects are moving in stages. It's very important that you understand that part because some folks think that money just gets dumped into some company account and it's there and it just goes out. It doesn't get released until a lot of checks and balances are in place. So this is something that definitely helps eliminate majority of all the challenges, not all of them, but mainly all the avoidable ones. It's very important. So it's about being proactive versus reactive. And that alone eliminates, I think, like 90+% of all the headache on projects. And LD, I know you're here with all your experience. You have a big portfolio. What is your thought on like having a clear like construction process in place before you do a project?
So, one of my favorite acronyms is FOCUS, and it's follow one course until success.
Hmm.
Now, that came after a lot of trial and error, and I am ADHD king. So, I'm the guy when I go to paint, let's say I'm painting a room. I paint one wall and then I'll stop and then I'll run into the closet and I'll start painting that. And then I go and I'll like get the white paint and start doing the door. So I'm all over the place. And
Hmm.
so I've had to work and try to hone in on this. I bought a 5 unit apartment complex and I hired one of my best friends to rehab it for me. Now, I've known this guy for over 20 years. We served an LDS mission together. We did door-to-door satellite cells. He joined the military. We've rehabbed things together. So he's a great guy. He's an honest guy, has high integrity. And when I bought this complex, there was about 1 month worth of work that needed to be done. None of the places were rented. So I took him in there and I said, "Can you get this done for me?" He says, "Absolutely. Give me a month and I'll do it." That's all. I didn't give him anything other than it's got to be done. I showed up a month later when it was supposed to be done, and the place was a disaster.
Oh man.
He had started painting first, and then after he painted, he got to plumbing. So he started cutting the walls open to do the plumbing. And then after he did that, he patched those up. Then he started cutting the walls open to do the electrical. And after he did that, he patched those up. So this thing that should have taken a month, I'm in at a month. I've dumped a ton of money into this project. And I'm no better off now than I was from the beginning. Now, once again, I want to say the guy has integrity, and lots of these contractors have a lot of integrity. But if you don't give them a clear, concise from here to here what needs to be done, then that's what you'll get. And I'm sure you have plenty of experiences like that, Jim.
100%. You know, that story touches probably a lot of people here. Drop a one in the side chat if that kind of comes true to you in your, you know, your history of your projects. If you had a problem contractor, things ran long, just drop a one. I'm curious because I know a lot of people there. There's some here, Mike, Erica. It's not uncommon, unfortunately, right, LD? I mean, it's unfortunately something you're going to hear a lot of. Although the painting before plumbing, that one, that may be a little more unique. Not sure about that. That was a special guy there that you found.
That sounds like one of those, like, you can't make that up.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so wild that
It's a good one. This here is I think, a really important slide here to go over. Renovation versus the ground up. So as you know, it's really clear and simple, right? You have a property that is existing. You're working within the constraints of those exterior walls. And it's faster to start. There's more unknowns to a high degree, what's behind those walls, right? There's always what's behind that next wall you open up, and there's a lot of unknowns there. And you go to ground up where you're building from scratch. So there's a lot more planning up front that all this team here is working on for many months. Site planning, locating the lot. I mean, I was looking at the lot with you guys earlier today, and there's all these things that go into play before you start to ensure that you have all your ducks in a row. And that then is designed intentionally for the purpose, and it eliminates a lot of those unknowns. So the problems go away from all that planning, and it's the mindset. You know, it's a lot different. And Audrey, I know you were with Pat Split, right? You see a lot of stuff going on all the time, and you see tons of renovations. Now you're involved in doing these ground up projects. I'm curious how, you know, what your thoughts are, how you see the two differences.
Yeah, well, I would say 90% of our inventory is, your shell, your initial uh, property you're starting with is a single family home that was built for a family. And you're trying now to convert it into a space where 8 individuals that don't know each other can live and have their own private space. So,
Yeah.
as you guys can probably guess, it's a lot easier to do ground up because you're building the property specifically for co-living, right?
Love it.
Not many people are doing ground up, but the ones that are, the properties have been extremely successful because everything's brand new. You know, they're gorgeous, they're functional, and we see longer tenures in place with these properties.
It's so good. And I don't think a lot of people are doing the ground up model, right? They're going within remodeling is their main focus.
I would say the majority. Yep.
Yeah. So it's a really special place to be here, right? You're not doing just a regular pad split or a regular co-living deal. So what your money's doing in a project, this is huge, right? You know, it's always important to understand how things work. So we don't treat construction as a big blur. Projects move in stages, and each stage has defined work. We're going to go through scopes of work later and give you some cool deliverables to show you how that looks on paper. And that work is verified before the project moves forward and before the next payment's released. So the key idea is very simple. Construction only moves forward when a previous stage is completed. So if one stage pauses, then the next stage pauses. That's where clarity really starts to matter. And that's also why you can plan way in advance multiple builds. In this case, 20 beds, 20 baths. Try and do that with single family remodeling, you're going to have a lot more challenges.
Mm-hmm.
And Dustin, I'm not sure if this is a good time or not, but I know that someone just texted me about the link in the side chat. I think Luke, you may have dropped it. How does that work here with using that link and getting involved to get a closer look?
Yeah, absolutely. So the 2020 project that I showed a bit ago, we are raising that through fractional. We have a couple projects in different stages already in Houston like that. But yeah, it's a $10,000 minimum. We have multiple people that have done the $20,000 where they're going to come to Houston with us and see the whole portfolio. And so an adult field trip. So we're pretty pumped about that one.
I love that. When is that going to be?
We're narrowing down dates, but it's most likely Q1, at the
Q1?
latest early Q2. Yeah.
Exciting. I hope to be there. Good stuff. So this is where I really get excited because we're going to really pull back that curtain and show you how this looks in the real world and give you some images and some tracking of what happened in stages. So take a look here. Just take a minute to look at each stage, right? You have grass and dirt. Then you go to a purpose build that creates affordable housing and real impact. This is affordable housing made right in front of you, from dirt to housing. To me, that's the coolest thing about doing ground up is you literally can look at this dirt and now say, hey, look at what I've done this. I've helped build this project. I think it's super cool. So watching it in real time happen, and we're going to show you some more photos than just this here. But type excited, because I mean, maybe I'm the only one here getting excited, but this pumps me up. Type excited in the side chat if you like this here. This to me is really where it all lands.
I'm getting excited.
All right. Somebody is. All right.
One thing for
Seth.
certain, LD and I, we've done a good amount of rehabs together, and there's always so many curveballs.
Yeah.
And it delays things. And it was nice because on this, LD, this might have been the smoothest deal we've ever done together, this specific project. Yeah.
I just want to jump in really quickly. One of the biggest curveballs I've ever had. Me and Dustin were doing a rehab, and Dustin was helping me paint. He was painting the walls, and it got late into the night, and he started using the wall paint and started painting the ceiling.
Oh, man.
And
You're working me too long. It's like a 13-hour day.
yeah, so he ended up leaving. I had to go back and like find a paint to match the ceiling.
A good lesson is you get what you pay for there.
You get what you pay for.
Well, you have the team here. If all things fail, we'll put our tool belts on here. It sounds like we'll get going.
We really will.
We'll get it done. So LD, I know you visited this project in person, and we're going to go into what's builder trend next, right? And show some of the stages. And what was your thoughts when you were on site? How did that look to you? I'll show you like the progress tracking slide here too, but how was that? Because you were there in person.
Well, to be completely honest, Jim, relief.
Okay.
Now, I've done a lot of projects over the years, and I know how to vet a contractor. I've gotten very good at that. But there is one thing when you vet a contractor, you go out to dinner with them, you talk to them about religion, you talk to them about integrity, you talk to them about finance, you get to know the guy completely well, and then he takes your money and he starts building. But this is where a big variable comes up. Now, we don't give him the money and he starts building. We make sure we set it up in a way where he takes the draws as the build goes along. But when I went out there and I saw this thing was going up, five less than a week, he went from the foundation and built the whole entire place up stick build in less than a week. And when I saw that, I said, you know what? I've got my guy. And that's exciting
It
because
is.
we are working with a lot of investors. A lot of people bring money to these things, and I'm a good steward of their money. And I make sure that this project gets done on time, under budget, and we get what we give what we promise.
Hmm.
But seeing it done and knowing that we've got a guy that can actually deliver on this, and the home is done, by the way, we finished it. So to answer your question, relief,
Yeah.
man.
That's huge. Well, it makes a big difference because you're part of the team, you're visiting the site, you're making sure you're holding people accountable and you're there. And it's always different when you're boots in the ground, right? Videos are cool and pictures are great. I mean, we'll talk about how right here in the slide, next one is photo updates. That's huge. But when you're there to visit, you got to take up Dustin on that offer because getting there is going to be, I think, the most impactful thing for you to really change your inside, the feeling of, wow, this is real. I'm here on the site. I love that. How
Yeah,
do we
and
pull up Builder Trend and show some of the images there?
yeah, I'll pull it up now. And while I'm doing that, I wanted to highlight one of the pieces that LD mentioned and you mentioned is the way that the contractors are paid. I know we're going to dive more into
Mm,
it now, but
okay.
like one of the biggest mistakes we hear on like our office hours or wherever is the contractor, like they want as much money up front as possible.
Hmm.
But I mean, LD, pretty much every job that we've done on the rehab side at least, you're like, nope, you go to Lowe's, get the materials, and then call me and I will pay for the materials at the register. So it's like it's very strategically paid for throughout the entire build. And it's not this fat check, 50, 100 grand. Like, all right, start my project, please. So you're maintaining the leverage.
Yeah, that's big. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the horror stories, they align with money getting released at the wrong time in the wrong way, right? Without the protections in place. So it's super important you do what you're talking about.
All right, so I pulled it up. This is the early stage at the very beginning. So I can navigate wherever you
Yeah.
want, but
So,
yeah,
so
here
we've
we
seen
go.
dirt. Now we're seeing, the grass coming off there. They're scraping the top. They're doing the horizontal work. So right here is when, oh, there we go. We got even all the documentation. Love it.
Yep, starting the end of June.
That's great. Yeah. So this is where you're able to, now correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of these photos, the investors get these weekly.
Yeah,
Yes.
Rocky, she brings them out
Yeah.
via email.
That's great. I love that. That's a big deal because that's not common. To tell you the truth, there's a lot of times where I'm on these sites and there's no one taking photos, no one sharing them with the whole team. So you're kind of in the dark, but this is great to see all these stages. And you can also get a lot of lessons learned here too. You can go back and learn from, okay, what were the lessons learned from this project? How can we do the next one better? Even 100 later, you're going to have lessons learned to refine it further and further. But here you can see that they're getting all of their framing together for foundational work. Still got the for sale sign up.
Yeah, and then
Already.
like on the
Already there
on
for rent.
the Thursday calls as well, we dive a lot more into it.
Okay.
Thursdays it's just investor only calls,
Hmm.
and then that's where people will dive into underwriting like we did today, looking at I think Audrey brought several different videos and we looked at other types of new builds, or people will bring certain addresses we'll dive into, or we'll look at these photos from the updates.
I like how there's the amount that you guys are able to track dollars spent here too, live in real time. So
Hmm.
you keep tabs on that. You can see, okay, here's how much we have done. Here's the progress, percent completion. Here's the amount of money that's being released. There's a lot of accountability there.
Yeah, so I can hit whatever photos you want
Yeah,
from
let's
them,
look at
but
some framing. The framing, there's certain stages that I think are the most impactful. Like you mentioned, LD, the structure goes up, right? That's super cool to see. The framing's there all the way up to the roof. And then drywall really makes it feel like a home, right? Once all the walls close in. But you're changing the neighborhood right here. There was a piece of dirt. Now you have a whole new structure. Is there a way to also see the finishes again to go through like to the drywall and then to the finishes? Because I was super impressed with finishes.
yeah, yeah, let me it always kicks me back to the very beginning.
Okay.
So I'll bounce it around.
But I mean, this is to me one of the most exciting things about having a system. I mean, this is a professional way of doing business. Believe it or not, when you're building things or remodeling, a lot of contractors don't have these systems in place to follow and have you manage things in an organized way. But this is what I was blown away by are the level of finishes as for co-living.
Yeah, in between, it's hard to see in this photo, but it's gold.
Yeah, and
You
then the
can see it.
bathroom fixtures are all, I think
Mhm.
they're also higher end as well. Total build time for vertical LD, that vertical for the framing went up in about what, a week or so for the framing piece?
6 days.
6 days. Yeah, that's
I'm gonna
fast.
go back to the dried in. But yeah, it was quick. He lost pesos.
LD had a bet on that wasn't going to happen, right?
You know, so we're double or nothing right now,
Mhm.
and he said they can do it in 5 days.
Oh, come on. Now you guys are getting crazy.
I told him definitely not, but between the 100 people that are on here, like he's gonna be able to do it. It's crazy. I'm gonna be at 100 pesos.
Yeah, well,
And
that's tough. Yeah, hopefully you'll make a bigger return. Well, you're doing 20 bet 20 bats now, so you could afford it. What
I
is
don't
it?
know. Inflation's hitting hard, man.
Very true. And you can see they're marking the walls with they're identifying different things with notes. It's if you haven't been on a job site, it might be tough to catch these things, but they have the cardboard up there, they're making their notes, they're communicating between trades. That's big. I mean, all these things that I see when I'm looking over this project was showing me the level of professionalism. So it's not common to have, okay, you have what I consider budget friendly build as far as price point with quality work. And that's really the sweet spot when you're trying to deliver to the market. And Audrey, you see finishes all the time. And I know you were sharing how this is not your entry level finish package, right? This is your top tier.
Absolutely. Top tier plus plus.
Wait,
Jim,
Uh,
do you
and sorry, the idea here is we're getting good clientele and we want our members to stay long term. And that's less turnover. It keeps the home running properly and also it gives better returns for everybody.
yeah, and most people on a reno, unless they're going to live in it, they're not going to go all out on the finishes. But when you're building it from the ground up, um, you can do that. And it's just looks super clean. And I think, you have to remember that these members are booking sight unseen, right? They're not going and doing tours of the property and then deciding if they want to move in. So pictures are crucial. And the quality of the property is crucial, because they're going to compare it to other things that they're seeing on the marketplace, and ours is just going to stand out,
Yeah,
well above anything else.
so true. I love it. I would live in these units. They're so nice.
Same.
Yeah, I think I need to actually upgrade, get one of these.
Jim, could you highlight some of the major like milestones that have happened up until this point? Like some of the major, like kind of broad. It's gonna be different, different states, but like
Yeah, of
maybe
course.
certain inspections.
Yeah, you're going to have different stages. So you're going to have first pre-development, right? So pre-development's going to be all the entitlements and all that, which is well done and behind us. Design and permitting. You may have seen some of the permits that have been put in there, some of those approvals from the city. Then you have pre-construction. So that's all the planning, all the preparing, everything's getting organized. Then you saw site work. So site work is really where you've seen the dirt moving. You get that shovel in, and that's going to be utilities. It's going to be all that stuff is getting put into place. And then you saw the forms going up. So all the wood going up and around the border of the foundation. So the foundation, there's no basement here, right?
No.
Yeah. So you could see it was just like a slab. So this is all the foundation goes in next. So that was already passed at that point in time. Then you have framing and dry end. So looking at these pictures here, you're doing all the framing and dry end. So there's going to be inspections for that. And then dry ends, when the roof is on, it's sheeted. So that way it's pretty clear it's dried in, right? So if it rains, you're not going to worry about that. From there, you're going to look at these next pictures here with your MEP rough-ins. You're seeing that HVAC is going up. So it's all your, air conditioning, your heat. Down here in this area, every climate's going to be different, but that's going to be all the MEP trades, which is mechanical, electrical, and your plumbing. You can see the electrical wiring too. So all of that is going into play here. That's the stage I would see this next approval to be in these photos right here.
And then to highlight, this might be a Luke question or LD, but on this project, what would you guys say was the average amount of money that was being released after these major milestones? Was it a 30K per draw, 40K, 50K?
Definitely in the beginning, they're the higher draws. I if you want a inside builder trend, we actually have all the draw schedule. If I don't know if we have time to go through that.
Yeah, I
Yeah, it
want to
does.
say the
There's like an
ones.
upward trend, right? They start putting out money, and then you do get some big checks that go out for the MEPs, the MEP trades.
Yeah,
But the draw schedule is important because you're not paying people out all at one time. They're going to get paid a percentage of work completed. So if the contract's 100,000 and they have 20% done, they're going to get 20% of their payment, 20 grand.
yeah. The main takeaway I was trying to emphasize is it's not all at once, right?
Yeah.
It's these chunks. It's a over $300,000 build, but it's only like 10-12% maybe at a time that's being released.
Correct. Yeah. And the next stage here, after this is all done and approved, they're going to insulate, then they're going to drywall, and they continue on throughout all of the inspections.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up some of those next phase photos then for us.
How do you
Yeah.
And
But yeah,
confirm?
that's
I was
Sorry.
just going to
this
say,
is definitely,
go
go ahead,
ahead.
Audrey.
No, go. Sorry.
This is more on the lending side of things and the money management. But if you have a loan that's what's called non-Dutch, then you're only paying your interest payments are only being calculated
Mhm.
based off of what's been drawn. So you're not paying interest on all of the total budget. So that's nice too. You can it kind of stair steps as you go.
Good point. Yeah.
When I was doing these loans, they would require like an itemized invoice sheet, right? Do they still do that before they'll give the next draw? Where you have to get all of the invoices and pictures proving that the work's been done before the bank will give the next draw?
Yeah, so what happens is at the end of each section, they'll actually send me an itemized list of everything that was done. They'll send me the pictures, and then also I can see the draw schedule. And then so I go through everything. And then on top of that, um, during the different phases, they also have to get the city inspector goes out there and he'll have to pass up on these things as well. So there's a whole bunch of fail safes. And then when I go and I sign the draw, then it also goes to one of our managing partners, and he has to go and double check the draw as well, and then he signs it, and then they release the funds, and we move on to the next one.
What if you're working on a renovation with a contractor? How can you guarantee that the work has been done and done properly before you give him more money?
Good question.
Well,
Yep.
you,
Yeah. Go for it, LD.
I was gonna say, typically when I started, I built in my backyard. And so I was able to go out there and check these things myself. And then as I started going further from home, I go out and I check things, and I also have really good relationships with my contractors. So in the beginning, I go out and I check the work myself, but it gets to the point where I trust these guys and I always pay them on time. They know that I take care of them and they take care of me as well. And we have these relationships. But still, every single week, when before I pay, I always get what was done and I get pictures as well.
Very smart. And then if you have an HML, hard money loan, which you were doing lending before, right, Audrey?
Yep.
A lot of these hard money lenders, they have a lot of those same checks and balances in place that you mentioned, LD, for the build loans, where they're going to also require photos and images and certain documents to be filled
Mhm.
out. Where people get hung up a lot of times is when they don't have that required system in place, or which is private money, or when the contractor pressures them to make a payment because they cannot continue without it. Even though their work isn't done to the percentage they need to, they get a draw done. There's a lot of that happens. So you really want to focus on, in that case, clear communication and your contract being done properly up front. And even if we go through this for hours and hours, there's a whole course we have in sub two on this, but it's, if you have the contract done right, but you didn't communicate that, they may not have seen it, the contractor. So now you're saying, well, it's right here in writing, which you could win in court, but they didn't know about it. So you do want to have these pre-construction meetings, which is one of the things I mentioned earlier, even on a rehab. And when you copy those practices from this type of project and you apply it to a remodel, you're going to be significantly safer and way better off.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Drywall. I mean, this is where it all comes together.
So
Love
Jim,
it.
in general, what are some of the major inspections? I know it's different in every state, but like just some of the big ones that
Those
have
are the
happened
ones
so
that,
far.
yeah, those are the ones that would have happened. So we just did the MEPs, we did insulation and now drywall. And in some areas, like Bozeman, Montana, they will physically unscrew the screw, take the screw out and check to make sure it's the proper screw. So it gets to that detail in some areas. So every area is different. I don't think they're going to do that in many places, probably not here, but that's the point of the inspections, is to make sure it's done properly. And this is going to be the drywall inspection. Insulation would have happened, and this will be drywall. So when the inspector comes out, as LD mentioned, that has to be called in. A lot of times the general contractor calls it in, and then they will order that inspection to happen. The inspector comes out, they'll still walk through it. They're all different. And that's the piece of the puzzle, is navigating those relationships. And then from there, they sign off. They'll give you, okay, you're signed off, you're approved. Or they find an issue, they'll deny that approval. Then you have to resubmit once you're done. But with the speed you've done this at, clearly you did things well and you were getting fast approvals. So you're working with a team that's familiar with building in this area.
That's correct.
Yeah, next
I
one,
wanted to
go ahead.
No, I just wanted to pause real quick because
Yeah.
the Thursday office hours, they are investor only. And these are the types of conversations that we get to have on those calls. I just wanted to pause and like really emphasize that, because those Thursday calls are really cool. Like I learned something new every time.
We've got some good questions that we might want to touch on in the chat.
Yeah, let's dig into them.
Yeah, let's go. We do have also a few more things. We could do the questions first, though.
Yeah, want to hit a couple questions and then yeah. Total build time for vertical construction. I think we hit that one, right, LD?
6 months.
And then look at the slope. Let's see.
I think that was just the angle of the picture for the slope.
Yeah, same subcontractors for each build. Yep. All right. That one's like a paragraph. Club will invest again at the end of the investment or see their principal. So yeah, we're targeting essentially a 5 to 7 year hold period. And then in fractional we vote. We just did a vote on one of our other projects. LD, he did a great job on the rehab, and we had an extra 25 grand. And so we'll vote throughout the project on these major milestones, whether it's a refi, a sell. I really want to sell or finance one of these to push the comps higher, but we got to all vote on it. And that's what's cool about doing this through fractional. All right, how do you start looking for co-living contractors? My answer, and people probably hate it, is I just ask Audrey. Like, Audrey, because when you think about it, they know who's doing what in that area. They know who's already done some co-living jobs. If they're smart, they know they don't want to burn that bridge with those reps, the pad split reps, because they'll just keep sending them business, right? And so I think that's a perfect phase, like phase one, a filter one.
Not all vendors are created equal. Not all vendors are able to take on a new project right away either. They'll say they can, but they're actually too busy. But yeah, we have vetted vendors on the platform that have been screened, trained, and they have several co-living conversions under their belt.
Yeah, what are your thoughts, Jim? Let's say someone contacted Audrey and Audrey gives them a list of five. What would be the appropriate next steps? Be like, all right, let's narrow these down. Who do they
Sure.
pick?
Yeah, you want to have someone on your team that has the experience to ask the right questions. So Dustin's figuring out what are those questions. There's a lot that goes behind that. Obviously, it's going to be the easy ones first is give me some of your references. Show me some projects you finished on time. Those are the really universal languages you can use there. But it's going to be a little better if you have the person on your team, a lot better, really, if they've done the new builds and they're part of your team. So then they can get involved with that vetting, the sourcing and vetting process. And they could even go on site, visit them, meet in person. I like to go and visit an area that we're going to build in and just find the active projects going on. Most people are going to be building where there's other new construction, right? You're not going to likely build in a rural area where you're the only one building. If you are, you're probably doing the wrong thing, right? So you're going to see other active builders in the market, which is people that are talking to Audrey and they're involved in the community of whatever they're doing. So that's the first thing. But it's going to be that trusted partner, truly, that understands how to ask the right questions. I know LD, with all of his experience, you've been able to ask a lot of those tough questions, right, with the GC and really figure out, first off, how do you vibe together? Do you want to work with them, right? How is the energy together and the personalities, right? There's a lot of different pieces of that puzzle because you can have a great contractor that has a terrible personality and you're just fighting, battling through the whole thing. So that's not going to be worth your time either.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, Jim, if we can, we're at 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Could we look at some of those last slides that you have?
Let's do
And
it.
then gonna go over the numbers real quick. I saw a couple questions come in through that form that we just threw in the chat. People are asking questions about the cash on cash, ROI. And then in about 6-7 minutes, we'll bring Kyle up from Fractional and he'll walk us through.
Love it. Well, we promised you guys deliverables, right? We want to give you something to walk away with tonight. And this is going to be the slide for that. These are four main areas of documents that we're going to give you. Dustin, how do they get these documents before we show them?
Yeah, perfect. So we're going to use the same form. And then instead of a question, just type in on the short answer, just type in deliverable or document, either one of those words. And then tomorrow our team will email this out to you. So it's the same form that I just put in there.
Yeah, if you can put deliverables in there, and then there's also a button that says if you'd like the cheat sheet. If you answer yes, you'd like the cheat sheet, then we'll send you out everything as well.
Good deal. And these are not random. This is how scopes get defined. This is how expectations stay clear throughout the bid, right? So we have estimating worksheet, scope of work, two different lien waivers. That's a big missed piece of the puzzle for people that are doing draws. And then a final example punch list. Let's open up a couple of these. Are you still seeing the screen?
Yes.
Yep.
Beautiful. So there's a lot of ways you can estimate work. I know a majority of people here are not doing ground up. So I want to make sure we got you one that would also work well with rehabs. And this is an example of how you could break things down up front. And one of the differences about this type of sheet here is there's a budgeted and a final. Because nothing ever is never the same, right? You budget for something, then you finalize it when you get a contract. So you could expand this, you could build on this. But this is just one of the documents here. Next one is scope of work. This is where you get really clear on what the work's being performed and what's not being done. What I really find important is number 3. This is missed really often. It's exclusions, things that are not included versus what is included. And then also this next couple things is the schedule with milestone dates. So as you've seen in prior slides, everything was built on dates. And when you have a new construction project, it's pretty common. You always have that. Uncommon for remodels to have that tight of a predetermined schedule. So when you are clear up front with your contractors or your subs that these are the dates we have to have things done, here's what's in your scope of work or your contract, it's going to make your whole process smooth out. And then the payment terms, the last thing you want, LD, I'm not sure if you ever had this before with the paint plumber guy, but I need payment tomorrow, right now. I just finished my work.
It's every week.
Yeah.
It's
So you
every
need
week.
to be clear on that, right? And then for lien waivers, you have conditional and you have unconditional. We're not going to read every line, but the point of it is you want to always have them sign the conditional waiver before they get paid. And then they're going to get the unconditional once their payment's been processed. And the last thing is the punch list. The punch list will kill you. That last 10% of a job could take 90% of the time, it feels like. So if you have somebody dedicated to your punch list and that goes through this, that's going to clean up that final 10% of your work in a timely manner. And that's it, man. That's the package. We want to give you a lot of good value there. Hopefully you'll use it and apply it to your own projects.
Yeah, that's gold. That's the key takeaway I wanted to or emphasize just now, Jim, is hopefully you'll use it. We meet so many people, they just get stuck and they stay in learning mode and they like collect all these things, but they don't do anything.
Oh yeah. I think we've all been there. And it's when you are around other people doing the thing, like hence everybody here tonight in my time, it's almost 8 o'clock. Some people almost 9 o'clock. If you're here, you want to take action, right? You're clearly taking your time to do something of action.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And these are the perfect tools and ingredients to, it won't be perfect action. That's a mirage, right? It's not going to be perfect, but it's things like this, these tools to help you take it one step at a time the best you can.
Love that. And this is what investors see. I was very impressed when I found out that the team does their weekly email updates. Dustin, you want to share a little bit about what this is?
Yeah, so we get the photos and some verbiage about what happened that week. Actually, it's like we get 2 to 3 times per week updates. And then Rocky, she's amazing on our team. She handles a lot of the outbound marketing that you guys see. She'll send every Friday, Saturday, an update of what's going on, and then a brief explanation, and then also a percent completion of the total project.
That's huge. Surprisingly, it's uncommon, guys. You would think it's a normal thing. Some of the biggest compliments that we get with my construction company is that we give them a weekly update, the most simple of things you should do. And that's for people that are paying for work versus, you're an investor. And when you go into a project, knowing you're going to have these updates, you learn like the office hours you're learning. So there's a lot of different ways that you can get involved. Luke, I know you dropped in the side chat, the link to fractional. Is that still in here?
Yep,
I'll
there's
drop
the
it
link,
again here.
and then anyone watching it, either live or the recording, that barcode top right of the screen will also take them to fractional.
Can I say something really quick?
Please.
So it's very important to be very open with all of our investors and give them those updates. But the main thing for that, aside from integrity and being completely transparent, most people that invest with us, they're doing it because they want to learn and they want to build their credibility package. And when you invest with us, we put you on the HUD. So you have those documents that you need, but also with all of the updates that we're giving every week, those are crucial to keep those, put them in your own file, and that's how you build your credibility.
It's so good. It's a big piece, right? I mean, you're trying to figure out how do you get the first step. So when you want to go do a job and get hired by somebody, but you have no experience, right? Well, how do I get the experience if I can't get hired? So now you're able to get involved, invest, get a return on your investment. Most times when you're investing into your education, you're not getting that back, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
funny.
absolutely like that with with the loans for new construction as well. It's definitely a chicken egg scenario. Everyone wants you to have experience to loan you money to do new construction, but no one will give you the experience, right? So this is a great way to start building that experience on your resume.
Yeah, Luke and I had met with one of our investors on a project much earlier in the year, and her question was how to raise capital. And she's very quiet, ultra conservative. And I told her, I was like, you have to start posting your deals like the one that we have done together on social media. Like talk about the co-living that we bought on social media and document it. And it's like when you have, two or three properties that you can rotate through and give updates, like that is the cheat sheet for raising capital. And that's our goal, is just to help expedite that curve for a lot of people as well.
Well, so Dustin, when our investors come to the Thursday office hours, those recordings, they can take those recordings, can they not? And
Abs-
so come in, ask questions, build your credibility there, take those recordings and put them on YouTube.
Absolutely.
Tag me.
That's gold.
All right, so I'm gonna pull up real quick. I'm gonna show the numbers. I saw some questions regarding numbers, and then I'm gonna bring Kyle up. So, Jim, did you have a couple of slides after Kyle, or did you want to go over
We
those
have,
before?
yeah, let Kyle, if you could do your thing, yeah, please. And it's just a matter of wrapping things up here with the slides.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I can share my screen.
All right, so Kyle, I'm gonna show some financials real quick, like 30 seconds, and then I think you have co-hosts, so you'll be able to immediately screen share.
Perfect.
And so, yeah, the project that was referenced repeatedly throughout is the 2020, the co-living new build that we have going on. We're real excited. We've done the 1010 before, so it's two of these side by side. And honestly, it's the best project we've seen all year. And that's why we're doubling down on it going into 2026 as well. We are about 40% funded. It's a $10,000 minimum. At the bottom here, actually, I wanted to show there's only, I think, two investors left for the 20K plus. We're going to do a private Houston portfolio tour. And so we're going to go look at the projects with the 2x4s. We're going to film together. We're going to purposely tee up questions where you're answering it and you're looking and being perceived as the, authority figure of your, the deal that you're on. Because we do really want to help posture you up, whether it's raising capital, just building your credibility for your own self, your personal growth. And so we have two left at the 20K up bonus. We have one left. No, two. We have two left at the 75K. And then we have a verbal commitment on this one, the 150K. So, like I mentioned, all our deals, they fund fast. You can look on fractional. It's not exaggerated. The cash on cash, last thing I wanted to point out, and this is all on fractional too. You can look at this, or we could do a one-on-one call. But the targeted annual cash on cash return is 8%. And then the total ROI, because you are on the HUD with us, you're an equity partner, is 18%. So that's the cash on cash, that's the appreciation, the debt pay down, a variety of benefits to you. And yeah, we're very, very excited about this one. We're going to go visit it as soon as it's framed. So, Kyle, take it away. How do people jump in with this?
Let's
With
do it.
us on this?
Let me share my screen and I will show everybody. Here we
And
go.
while you're doing that, if someone could put it in the chat, the link to what you're showing us right now, I always get tripped up on that.
Okay, that will get posted in the chat. And this is the 2020 Co-Living Development Club here on Fractional. Put a 1 in the chat if you are new to Fractional. So these investment clubs, you're committing funds to the club criteria, and that is written down here. And then it is the club leaders, the individuals giving the presentation, the workshop, the masterclass tonight to find the deal. Then the club gets to review the due diligence and then vote on that deal. So you can review this information here. You can click into the slides for this particular club. And then when you're ready, come on over here to the blue button. And this is the first screen that pops up. So if you are new to Fractional, welcome to Fractional. This will be what your screen looks like. And the first most important thing you have to do is verify your personal identity. And that is you as a human being, your date of birth, your home address, your social. Once you're verified there, then you can come and you can set up a company with a business EIN, a checkbook, or a custodian IRA. And these accounts will appear here. So I'm going to go ahead and click individual right now. $10,000 is the minimum, but it is not the maximum. It could be an odd number. It doesn't need to end in zeros. It doesn't need to be a multiple of 10,000. It could be, any number. But for example, let's just keep it at 10,000 for easy math. So to secure your $10,000 to the total goal of 550 here, they're at 210. You pay a 3% transaction fee to lock in your spot. So I would pay $300 to lock in my $10,000, and it would be contributed towards the total goal. I can pay that transaction fee via credit card or a bank account, but the $10,000 does need to be a wire or an ACH transfer. Enter in your information here and just check the checkbox to attest that this is a hard deposit. It is a lock-in fee, only refundable if the whole deal does not move forward. So what Fractional does is we stay on to do the compliance and taxes and all that boring paperwork so y'all can go out and make more money. We will stay on. So right now there's 10 participants. Let's say that there's 20 investors. We will create the LLC that those 20 investors are the members, co-owners of, and that LLC is the club. We will do the compliance taxes for the LLC. We'll do K1s for all the investors, and we stay on to be that neutral third-party manager. Every club on Fractional has its own private community, and this is where the team will come to you and present updates, show you the pictures. You'll have your active participation. It's like a digital community. The last thing I want to note is once you've made your commitment, you get to vote, and your agreements will pop up here. And right now they're listed down here, and I'll just kind of show you these real quick. So these are agreements that you get to vote on, like where the LLC will be created, that you're acknowledging you're going to actively participate, and most importantly, that you've reviewed the due diligence and you either approve or don't approve of the specific address opportunity they're presenting to you. That is it for me. I'm going to jump to another call, but I will drop my email in the chat. If anybody has any questions about Fractional, if anybody has any issues with getting your account set up, please reach out. I'm happy to help you.
Awesome. Thank you, Kyle. Yeah, so I believe we have a couple slides left, and then we wanted to do some deep dive Q&A. Like we mentioned at the beginning, Jim and LD, they have 50 years, basically 50 years of experience. So it's like, this is your shot. If you're on the fence, maybe you're talking with Audrey 3 times a week, like, Audrey, what do you think about this one? What do you think about this one? But you're truly afraid of just hiring the contractor, like, take advantage of this right now. Like, this is it. This is incredible value, free value that you have access to. All right, Jim, let's check out these last slides you got.
Love it. Yeah, this last one here that I was going to go through is the ways that you can get involved. Is it showing on your screen?
Yep.
Cool. These are several ways, there's different layers of how you can get involved when you're part of this project. What's cool is that you tailor it to what's best fits you. You may have heard earlier about joining the open office hours. Some people want to learn and observe. Learning is a huge part of the puzzle here. Some want to just attend the different open office hours, and that's it. And then a lot of folks, they come in, they want to find something and they don't know what to do. They'll invest a smaller amount to start. There's all the different ways. And I know some will do everything, right? I mean, LD, when you look at these ways, and you've been doing this for over 20 years, which one resonates with you the most? Oh, you're muted.
Now I'm unmuted. It was funny, Dustin, earlier today when he first told me we were on office hours and he said that you and I had 50 years combined experience, and I almost fell off my chair. Um, it's true. Wow, Uh,
Are we that old, LD? Is that what's happening
Yeah, apparently you are, but not
here?
me.
Yeah.
But
I'll
the
take it.
reason people come here is because there is so much to learn in real estate, and I promise you, I'm learning things that I didn't know every single day. Even though I have so much experience, there's still so much to learn. And I used to joke with people, and I say, my advice is free, and that's probably what it's worth. But really, it's not free. It's really expensive. People come here, they pay money because they want to learn, and I understand that. And that's what I'm here is I'm here to give as much valuable as I possibly can. I'm a Christian guy. I have 8 kids, and I want to be able to leave generational wealth to my family. And the only way I know how to do that is by giving. The more I give, the more successful I will become. And when you're partners with us, like it's all about giving. We want to give to you, we want to help you. And I think that's why people come here. You know, a lot of people they want to learn and they want to go out on their own. Hopefully they'll stay with us. We'll get your money out of these investments and you can reinvest it and we'll do more and we can all change Houston together. But the thing is, lots of people they want to learn this stuff and they want to go out on their own. And I'm totally for that. I want to help everyone and I think that's yeah, just it's a long-winded way of people come here because they want to learn. That's what we're here to do. We're here to teach.
So good. I mean, I'm curious of what everybody has in mind here, what fits them. Drop a 1 if you would learn and observe. A 2 if you're more of like asking questions, attending open office hours. Do a 3 if you feel like you would want to do a smaller amount to start for your first deal, or a 4 if you want to do all of them. I mean, if you would just be one of those people who feel like they would do every single one of these things. Delcy number 4, number 1. So it's good to get a gauge where everybody's at, you know? I love that. Well, I appreciate everybody giving me the time here to share what I could share about construction, go through some of that. Hope to do more in the future. Those deliverables, please make sure you fill that out to get those. I know that Dustin, you mentioned a Q&A, right?
Yeah, Q&A. It could be through the chat if we want to bring someone up that maybe they have like an urgent contractor question. Maybe they have a deal that they have going on right now, like kind of office hours style, where they're like, I don't know what to do. I have these contractors tell me XYZ. And so, I mean, I think we have like maybe 10 minutes or so where we could just give some free value and whoever watches it can have some good takeaways.
We want to
So,
answer Solo's question about this entitlement process and zoning. How are these zoned in Houston, or just zoning process in general?
What was the question? Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Should we bring them up?
Yeah.
Is he on here still? Uh,
It was about zoning. Is that what it was?
yeah, zoning entitlement process. Let's see here. We can ask him to unmute.
Yeah, hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I was just curious because for example that 10 unit, you said it was a single family home. So I guess are they not considering that multifamily or they're not considering that like a lodge house? I guess what is the city's perspective and also the standards, right? Like parking and fire code and all that. Just curious on that.
yeah,
Good
good point.
question.
So, I I can hit on some of it and then Audrey, Luke, LD, whenever you want to jump. But yeah, it is residential. Um, it's part of the reason why we are in Houston. Out of none of us live in Houston. But just from the risk perspective of building the portfolio, we really like the zoning rules there. There's no restrictions on the number of unrelated people. They are viewing it as residential. Whenever we're building it, submitting the plans, there's no smoke and mirrors. There's no grayness. It's, hey, this is what we are building, and that's it. There's no conversion after. Like, not saying that that's wrong or anything. That's just not what we wanted to do. And so, regarding parking, Audrey, I could pull up. Yeah, I'll pull up the lot if you want to hit on parking real quick, and we could show a street view. Hold on, you're on
You're
mute.
muted.
There were fireworks going on right outside my window. I didn't want you guys to have to listen to that. So we have a large parking pad in front of the property that can fit probably 4 cars on each side. And then if you look at the street view, this property sits along a set of, I believe, old railroad tracks. I'm not sure if they're functioning, but what that does is creates a ton of street parking along those tracks, which is awesome. So that's the lot right there. And yep, there you go. Go. Okay, so you can go left. And obviously tons of street parking. There's also an empty lot across the street, tons of street parking. Not gonna bother anybody with street parking. And then there's the railroad tracks.
All through here.
Yep. And if you turn around too and face the railroad tracks,
Yeah, so tons of parking.
roundabout way. Yeah, there they are, right? I think you could probably park 20 cars outside on the street and no one's going to be offended. However, not everyone's going to have a car. Only
Yeah,
half, only
what's the percentage?
50% of our members have a registered vehicle on the platform. So, and a lot of people say, Houston's a driving city, everyone has cars. Yeah, a lot of people have cars, but a lot of people that live in pad splits don't, and they rely on public transportation. So I could pull up any property on our platform, and maybe half the people living in that house will have a car. We are going to get a
Yeah,
bit
that's the norm.
higher of a price point than the average, though, because the property's nicer, right? And so more folks will probably have vehicles at this property than others, but the allotted parking makes up for it. So
Yeah, and then I just
Yeah.
wanted to say one other thing about the reason we're in Houston is because this is what they want. This is what they need. The city needs it. They need affordable housing. And so we're not worried about the city coming in. They've literally lifted the regulations and they're saying, come in here. We're in between universities, the med center. There is so much going on there, but there's not affordable housing. And so, yeah, we're this is not like a fly-by-night operation. We're here in Houston to stay, and we're not going anywhere. We're gonna keep growing, and we're gonna help. We're gonna make a dent in the affordable housing crisis that they're having right now.
Yeah, so I see Belshan, the compound for financing. Yeah, so we're raising the money, we're buying the land with that capital, and then we're using it, some of the remaining capital to do the hard money loan, and then refinancing into the long-term debt. And so all of it is front raise. Let's see. Do you know if San Antonio is asking for it? Audrey? I think it's an attractive area, right? San
yeah, it
Antonio.
is. I would look up opportunity zones in San Antonio.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, long-term commercial, no. It's old-fashioned DSCR currently. We're hoping that it evolves, probably its own product, maybe a hybrid, like just single family to commercial, something that is customized, tailored towards this product. Still need comps. Yeah, so that's an excellent point. That is why we're so laser focused on this 610 loop, is there are comps, and we're creating new comps as we continue building. And so they're using those same builder, other builders that are building similar products, because there is a demand for this. Awesome, guys. Well, any last questions for LD and Jim, or any pad split specific questions that, let's see, we got probably maybe 3 minutes left. Awesome. Well, we thank everyone. Noise reduction. Yeah,
She
I
asked,
can.
with being so close to the railroad tracks, is there anything about
Are you talking
reducing
about
the
noise
noise?
noise reduction within the property, given how many people are going to be living there?
Yeah,
She
usually
asked
the
a bit
noise
above about the
pollutions.
railroad tracks.
Oh, I see. I grew up next to railroad tracks and it made me a sound sleeper. So,
I did see they did a really good job with the insulation here. So, new builds, modern day insulation, they do a really good job with sound deadening. And I wouldn't see that as a concern at all.
Yeah, Delshawn, if you want to put in the Q&A form your contact info, we could jump on a call.
Yeah, Delshawn, if you get into that questionnaire form, there's a section that says if that asks you if you want to book a private call, you can book a private call right there with us.
we got a question about the ROI overall and overall.
So the length of time, real quick. So we are aiming for 5-7 years. Honestly, it could be faster, but that's just what we're projecting, just based on historical data. The cost and promising is ROI. We are not promising anything or guaranteeing anything. We can't say either of those, but we are projecting 8% cash on cash and then 18% ROI annual. That's the projection. Anything could happen, right? But based on everything that we're seeing, analysis, the past few decades, and then what we're seeing future wise as well, yeah, there's a strong demand for affordable housing and it's not going anywhere. Awesome. And yet, to hear, if you want to jump on the call as well, that same link that Luke just mentioned here, we'll throw it in the chat again. Yeah, we're definitely happy to help answer any questions. And again, guys, we are almost halfway funded on this. They go quick. They come in waves. And so, yeah, we're excited. This is gonna close hopefully by Christmas, but pretty strong odds that it's before the year ends. All right, guys. Jim, Audrey, anything that we want to touch on before we jump off? LD, Luke, we're good to go.
Appreciate your time,
So,
guys. It's a
yeah,
pleasure to
thank you
go through that.
guys.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah, yeah. I guess one last thing. If you invest, please come to office hours. I think it's something a lot of people come, but I do think it's something that is underutilized and there's a lot of value there. So I hopefully if you're already invested with us, let's see you there next Thursday. If you're going to invest with us, I would love to see you next Thursday. All right, guys. Thank you very
Awesome.
much. I'm hopping off.
Thanks, everybody. Have
Thanks,
a good
guys.
night.
Have a good
I
holiday
appreciate
if
it.
we don't see you.
Yeah, Merry
Bye.
Good
Christmas.
night.
Happy New Year.